of sense.
LeBron James is one of the most dominant players we've ever seen in the game. I do not think he'll win MVP for that reason alone. I think like a James Harden or a Stephen Curry, because they're going to have to play all these games in order for them to make the playoffs.
Don't sleep on Nikola Jokic as a sneaky good MVP candidate. And one of the things I wonder about, and we don't have time to do it here, is if the Lakers play the Clippers in the playoffs, does it matter who has home court advantage? Because
I don't think
even for the Clipper home games,
still a home
that's
game.
going to be a Laker home
Exactly.
game.
And I would take the Lakers in that matchup because of their size. I think their size is a differentiator.
There's a lot to get to. Jalen's on his way in here. We'll do more of that.
J-Rose.
Jalen will also be interested in the game. Football about it, but that is not where we begin this morning. We have huge breaking news, and for that, let us bring in our basketball guys. Jay Will is here to analyze, but Adrian Wojnarowski, the man himself, has an enormous story that I think has implications for the moment and extending all the way to next summer. Woj, the stage is yours.
Greeny, Bradley Beal, the all-star guard in Washington, has agreed to a 2-year, $72 million max contract extension. His agent, Mark Bartelstein, tells me this morning that keeps him under contract with a player option in 2022, 2023. That keeps him now under contract and out of free agency for the next 3 years. It is a remarkable commitment from Beal to an organization that is in a downturn now. Ted Leonsis, their owner, Tommy Shepard, their new GM, sold Beal in these last few months on a future in Washington, and he can opt out of his deal in 3 years, and if he re-signs in Washington, could sign the biggest deal in league history, 5 years, $266 million. But the ripple effects are felt all over the league because this was a player who contenders, there's not a team in the league who didn't want to get involved in a Bradley Beal trade scenario. Now he is. That conversation will not happen. He is committed to Washington, and this is a great day for the Wizards.
No question about it. So there's so much to unpack in this story. Let's briefly start there. We are living in a time where star players are forcing their way out of good teams, much less teams that are struggling. So this is quite a statement that Bradley Beal is making about Washington.
It's a massive statement for the Wizards and Tommy Shepard. So my thing is, in an age where Kevin Durant leaves Golden State, you have Kawhi that leaves Toronto after winning a championship. Now you're having Bradley Beal say, I want to stay here in D.C. And actually, he didn't counter at all throughout the course of the year. He said, this is going to be a year of patience. I have to reevaluate all my decisions, but I want to be here. That says huge statement for the Washington Wizards.
Look, I mean, we're at a time where football players are forcing their way out of teams they don't want to be on anymore. So Bradley Beal makes the huge commitment to stay in Washington. They'll rebuild around him. In the meantime, let's put some names. Who is it out there that thought they were very much in contention to get Bradley Beal and thought he was the missing piece for a championship?
Well, certainly the Miami Heat have been a team that would have loved to have gotten him. The Lakers, teams like the Clippers, the Brooklyn Nets, the Boston Celtics, anybody who has assets, eventually, would have tried to get involved in Washington with Bradley Beal. Teams have been calling for months. When Tommy Shepard took over this team in July as GM from the interim job, this was something no one saw coming. The feeling around the league was eventually Beal would push his way out like a lot of other players had. But Mark Bartelstein told me this morning, from the very beginning, Bradley Beal told him, I want to make it work in Washington. And Bartelstein, Beal, Ted Leonsis, Tommy Shepard, multiple meetings over the last few months, and Leonsis Shepard sold him on a vision of rebooting this organization. Remember, they still have John Wall on a massive contract. He is probably going to miss this whole season. But there's some young pieces there, Thomas Bryant, who they will start to try to reshape this roster.
Here, there are no huge to be available next summer. Take the name Anthony Davis out of that. He's not going anywhere. He's staying in L.A. So this was the big fish that everyone was waiting for, and now he is no longer available for other teams. So this, I think, really does reshape a lot of people's plans right now.
Think about the best backcourts in the NBA. When you think about Steph and Clay when Clay comes back, Dame, CJ, you will put John Wall and Bradley Beal in that conversation when John Wall comes back. The East is open, guys. I mean, Milwaukee's good. They're the same team as they were last year, minus Malcolm Brogdon and stuff, some good pieces. You think about, what's happening in Toronto. They're kind of on a downturn. Philadelphia, it could be an implosion year for them. It could be open for Washington to regroup and regather.
And